Studio Lounge interviews brought to you by Cook Solutions Group.
Mike Lawson here with CU Broadcast. Welcome back to our continued coverage of the 2025 Technology Council Operation Member Experience Council Conference, put on by the fine folks at America's Credit Unions. And in the Studio Lounge, look who's here. Scott Fieber, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
A distant cousin of Justin Bieber. No, we were just kidding. We just said that before the recording.
Before he was a guy, though,
Yeah.
I had the hardest time having people remember my name. Like, so is it Fieber? Is it Phoebe?
Fieber like Bieber.
I'm like, no, just like Justin Bieber, so it makes it like something.
Okay, got it. So, and you are with Cook Solutions Group. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your support, sir.
Yeah.
We appreciate that big time. So, especially at this conference, because there's so much great content here, as you probably well know. So,
Yeah, no, excited to be here, excited to be part of the conference, and excited to hang out with you. I've seen you for years and never had a chance to sit down and talk.
Well,
So
I'm happy that we finally broke the ice and you're here now. So good stuff. Before we dive into the topic here, any highlights from the conference so far? We had a busy first or second day-ish here.
Yeah, honestly, admittedly, I just barely got here, so I haven't had a chance to take a peek.
Besides your jacket, everybody, this jacket is second to none. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a story in itself on that. We'll get into at some point. But I had to fly into Tucson, meet with some customers down that way. Then hightailed it up here, and so we're just getting in here. Coming in hot. So.
Well, how about expectations? Any expectations, guys?
So
what's the plan of action?
We've attended the GAC conference in DC for years. Yeah. And so being more of a technology provider, we're excited to kind of see what this one definitely leads more towards member experience technology, which is what we're all about. And so I'm excited to see kind of where this takes us and how we kind of fit into it.
Well, we have a full day tomorrow, so lots more to digest for sure. So, all right, let's dive into some questions here. So we've seen a lot of financial institutions, credit unions in our case, trying to simplify their vendor relationships lately, obviously. So from your perspective, what's driving this push toward vendor consolidation? There's a lot of consolidation from all levels in this industry right now.
Yeah.
So what's from the vendor perspective?
Consolidation, to your point, it's huge, whether it's via mergers and acquisitions due to regulations, whether it's just vendor consolidation in general. It's hard to make a buck right now. I think that's a real thing, and so spending money and not leveraging your buying power is a real deal. And I think on top of that, the amount of just manpower it takes at the credit union level to manage those vendors is an issue.
That's a full-time job in itself right there.
Yeah, there's platforms now just to help with management of.
So
if you want to know you have a problem, it's because you have to buy software to help you manage that
There's
issue.
vendors that will help you with your vendor management programs. Go take that for what it's worth.
Right?
Yeah.
So if that doesn't tell you that we got problems, that's the case. So it's a thing. Obviously the amount of fintechs popping up, the amount of solutions that are out there, the advancement of technology, all the reasons for more companies to be playing within the credit union space. Yeah. But I think we really value the idea of what a true partner is, right? And that's sitting down, rolling up your sleeves, and figuring out what the solutions are to the whatever problems that they're faced with. And so I think managing the vendors from a perspective of getting them from a vendor to a partner space and really getting the most out of that relationship, I think is something that should be high priority for all credit unions and something that CSG strives to do.
Yep, indeed. So let's talk a little, about more consolidation. So when credit unions consolidate vendors, how does that open the door to deeper partnerships and more integrated solutions? I think that I'm envisioning a lot of upside here.
Yes. Yeah. So I think there's a couple different pieces that you can go about this, right? One is just pure spend, right? If you're working with less vendors and vendors that can do multiple things, hopefully that should allow you from some savings. Kind of like, we kind of call it like the bundle and save idea, like flow from Progressive a little bit, right? Like, if you bundle your home and auto through us, then you can do, So if you bundle your security and ATM through CSG, then you can do more.
What a spokesman you are.
So that's just the thought, right? Yes, if you can leverage more out of your existing relationships, that should drive a deeper level of partnership, right? Versus, and I'm not going to use a trade show as a bad example, but a lot of times, a board member goes to a trade show, sees some bright and shiny thing, next thing you know, we got a new vendor on the docket. Versus going back to your trusted partners and saying, hey, could you do this for me? Or do you know someone that could do that for me? Should be probably the better approach, in my opinion. And then from there, right, once you have that established relationship, the ability to then integrate the technology and to work deeper can open some doors, right? Beyond just a superficial one-layer deep relationship on a vendor, you can hopefully get that 2, 3, 4 layers deep, and all of a sudden now you're doing some better things with that.
Yeah, indeed. So let's talk examples here. So can you share an example of how these stronger vendor relationships have helped address a real-time challenge that credit unions are facing today? Some challenges here.
Yeah, so we're deep in security and ATM, and so ATM fraud has been a massive issue for a lot of credit unions, whether it's jackpotting, hook and chain attacks, skimming.
I just learned about hook and chain today. Very curious about this.
It's a problem, but hey, criminals are very creative in how they're going about stuff.
They have a lot of free time on their hands to think this stuff up.
Yeah. So what we've prided ourselves in is sitting down, just meeting need a deal like this with our customers and saying, hey, what issues are you seeing and how can we help solve them? Whether it's something that he or she can solve with them, or we know of other partners like us that can help kind of come into the scene to fix it. But yeah, real issues. I mean, this goes back to, I'll take it back to 2018. We had a credit union, Unitas credit union up in Portland that was struggling with card skimming. And so I remember it was over Christmas, and no one wanted to fix anything because everyone's on holiday mode, right?
Yeah.
And we remember in our lab, we're thinking, man, what if we could just hook like a siren to the top of the ATM just to like trigger if we see something weird happening. Like simple, right? But like, hey, let's get a quick Band-Aid to figure out some sort of way to figure out a bigger issue, bigger solve.
For sure.
And so I kid you not, we talked to them and say, hey, what if we have our agent remote view on the ATM that monitors everything that's going on?
Yeah.
We're doing your surveillance. What if we just put an analytic that says when we detect someone at your ATM, if they're not doing a valid transaction, let's notify on it. Worst case, right? So if they're there to install a skimming device, that'll detect that.
You're right.
Because right now they have everything under the moon installed on that ATM to detect against skimming, right?
Yeah.
But they're always one step ahead, right? It's the cat and mouse game that everyone's frustrated with.
Right.
And so we did it. It was really quick, just kind of install, kind of figured it out, and sure enough, like over that holiday weekend, skimmer device comes along, we catch it, everyone's high-fiving, like we think we got something here, right? So that's just like one snippet of like many different ways.
So I want to dive a little bit deeper here. So what's the siren was like on top of the?
We didn't actually put a siren on it.
We just thinking like a police car, a little red light thing going off, and that would scare somebody out. They would run for the hills.
So actually, we did that with Safe Credit Union. Actually, oddly enough, I'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But no, in our lab, we actually just had Christmas lights and a little siren over it because it was Christmas. So like just to see if the analytic worked.
Okay.
So once we triggered that, all of a sudden the light turns on. We know it triggered properly, right? So by the time we installed it for Unitas at the time, it then went to our network operations center. So we have a 24/7 operations center where if that alert happens, it's kind of an if this then that methodology, right? So if someone's here and they're not doing a valid transaction, that's odd, I want to know about it.
Right.
So then it triggers to our network operations center. They log in, they see the video footage and say, yeah, this person's doing something weird.
Right.
Let's take the machine offline, let's call the customer, let's do whatever we need to do. We can kind of take action at that point. So kind of the world's the customer's oyster at that point to kind of say, what do you want to do? Once we detect this, that portion of the if this then that logic, you tell us what you want to do. And so in their case, we said, hey, if we see something weird happening, just notify us and we'll take action from there. We actually had a really cool example with that same customer where we were not necessarily set up to like call the police, but we were notifying the customer and say, hey, we saw this guy, like, well, let's just keep monitoring. This was the first one, right? And sure enough, the guys come back like 20 minutes later.
Oh, I bet.
They went to Home Depot, was in the same parking lot to get some more tools because they couldn't figure out how to get the skimming device on it. And so we're watching this, we call them back, oh my gosh, they're back. They're like, we'll call the police. So they called the police. The police actually came in. They were there, intercepted them, and arrested them. And it gets even better because at that point, the cop has the guys in the squad car. He's like, I've got them arrested, but I didn't really see them doing anything wrong. They were at your ATM. Like, I've got no proof.
But you have footage of it.
We said, hang tight, right?
Yeah.
So normal, old school version of this is, hey, we'll mail you a CD, right? And like, who has a CD? Or even a thumb drive. Like,
we'll
okay, that takes days.
Yeah.
We said, hey, you got an email address. The police officer said, yeah. We emailed the footage of everything right to his squad car in his laptop.
Wow.
He had everything he needed right there to then say, yep, that's you, you're doing this, let's go to jail.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I imagined there was a siren, actual red siren on top of the ATM, and if there was some skimming going on, that would trigger the siren and would go off.
So,
and that would like cause, am I not far off here?
No, that's another option we have.
Okay.
So this is so fast forward a couple years. Mike McCarthy at Safe Credit Union
we just
calls
had him in
us.
here. Yeah.
They had this hook and chain thing start coming around,
he
right?
talked
People
about that.
backing up their stolen vehicles or tractors, whatever they take in, and stealing the machines.
Yeah.
And so he's like, look, I don't want to spend 10 grand on this ugly looking like gate in front of my ATM. It's an eyesore. It doesn't really instill confidence in the membership. So can we figure out something else? So we said, well, what about a siren? What about a strobe? What about a speaker?
Yeah.
And so this actually requires zero human involvement, which was kind of nice because with hook and chain, unlike skimming devices, you have to act immediately. You have 30 seconds before that ATM's halfway down the street.
Right.
The skimming device, it's not the end of the world if it's installed in the ATM for 20, 30 minutes because you may have one card compromised, but it's not going to be dramatic, right? But with an ATM being stolen, I mean, damage is like that, and we're off, right? So in this case, we said, hey, what if we do some object detection? So we can detect an object in front of your ATM, and we can detect which direction it's going. So if a car pulls up to your ATM parallel, that's great.
Right.
That's how it should be.
That's normal processing.
If they back in perpendicular,
that's a little different.
Why? Right? And so we can detect that. And if it's during this time of the day, right? If it's this type of vehicle, or if it's this type of a chain, or any object that we put into the library or the database, then trigger if this, then that logic, right?
Okay.
So in this case, we triggered a siren and a strobe that lights up the parking lot like the 4th of July, right? And then it plays a pre-recorded sound from a speaker that he's got that says, hey, police have been dispatched, we see you. It's localized to that branch. People bug out as soon as that happens. So knock on wood, that ATM has not been stolen yet. It's been triggered several times, been attempted. But
well, reputation, word spreads in that.
Especially in the criminal ring.
Don't go to that one.
Don't mess with them. They got stuff to help you out. So we're trying to figure out how to get a monkey with a taser to pop out too. But
in a kind of a weird kind of way, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun.
For you guys, not for the criminal.
So I think full circle, this is where it gets fun if you have a true partner that has multiple layers here. We can do innovative, we call it the CSG twist, right?
Yeah.
We're not just doing your ATM or just your security, but we're doing both. We're allowed to innovate and do some really fun things. But in some cases where it's just surface level relationships, you can't do a ton of that kind of stuff. So I think there's value there for customers to think about is saying, okay, what can I get more out of my relationship? Because CSG does hundreds of different things with customers, right? And a lot of vendors do that same thing. They're only using them for one piece. If you've got a good partner there, you like the relationship, what can you do to get deeper in there? Because the deeper you can get in that relationship, magic can happen, especially at times of need like this.
Right, and this seems like such a simple fix too, right?
Very quick, very simple.
In the second part of your response, it's like now that ATM has not been touched because word has spread throughout the old criminal network there that one ain't one to mess with for sure. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? All right, so the next question here, kind of along the same lines here. So obviously ATM fraud is a growing concern. We've already addressed that. So how does a solution integration, particularly in your work at CSG, help Credians detect and respond fraud more effectively? I think we addressed that.
Yeah, I mean the list is long on that stuff. Like those are just two simple examples. We've actually been working with the credit union up in the Washington market too, with just facial recognition even. I know facial recs can be kind of a coy thing, like hey, biometrics and whatever, but we've got to a spot where they have a list of known bad actors, right? And they can load it into a database, and when we see that person at their ATM, automatically shut it down, right? Or do just automated things like that due to the data that we have and the level of the relationship with that customer, we can do so much. And we've have some customers on our just user councils and things like that have given us ideas over the years of even saying, look, CSG works with thousands of credit unions all across the country, right?
Right.
A lot of them using our same systems. We have a lot of that data. Can we start now using that and parsing it across customers to detect trends and hotspots and heat maps, right? So if we detect ATM fraudsters coming up the interstate from California all the way through to Washington, we can see that trend and alert proactively customers saying, hey, be aware, right? This is coming your way, right? There's so much that can happen that way, but we've been able to do a lot now, even working with Homeland Security and the FBI on detecting people and actually apprehending them and actually putting them and actually doing something about the fraud other than just slapping on their hand and sending them on their way.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got stories and stories and stories of times we've been able to apprehend people from taping dead fish to the front of the ATMs to scooter guys running in with just things and people. I don't know. It's just the list can go on. So
taping dead fish to the ATM.
It was a thing for a while.
What is that?
It went coast to coast for a while. We ended up finding the guy because of his red shoes. So, yeah.
Well, don't wear red shoes when you're taping dead fish to an ATM.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. All right, so kind of, again, along the same lines here, we might be reiterating ourselves here, but talking a little bit of behavior here. So you mentioned before that CSG has been able to integrate video surveillance, obviously, with ATM software and actually track this behavior. So how does that change the game for credit unions and their members? Because it certainly sounds like it does in a big, big way.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a spend perspective, you're not looking to integrate some massive long-term 6-month project that's going to cost so much. We're talking $1,000 in IoT devices and some integrations of technology that's already there, and we've got a solution in days versus put it on the roadmap and a year or two later down the road we'll get it figured out kind of a thing, which we don't have that time, right? So there's I think there's a lot of benefit just again in having that relationship and that open conversation to have a dialogue around whether it's ATM fraud today or it's something totally different tomorrow. having that relationship and that connection to technology there ready to respond whenever we need it is an option, right?
Yeah.
It's been fun for me to see, even though we developed some of these technology for one issue, 2 years down the road, it's solving a different issue because it's that open, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. It's fun, and I think it's only going to get more fun as technology advances.
So
you add in AI, you add in analytics and predictive stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you can start going with
You
it.
guys must be having a blast doing this, and it's in the funnest, best way possible. I know you guys are, defeating crime and stopping that in its tracks and stuff, which is a good thing itself, but you guys are having fun doing it sounds like, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're getting these types of results with some relatively easy fixes. So it sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment around here for sure. We're always innovating. Our roadmap is always changing. But yeah, I mean, even on the simplest stuff though too, that's where it gets fun. I think we're integrating different stuff.
Yeah.
But CSG's been around for 24 years doing even just simple stuff like, hey, I need my tube system repaired, or I need my locks replaced, or whatever it is. We're here to help. And Brian Cook, our owner and CEO that's founded the company, he's always believed in that of customer experience is the first and foremost thing, and we can deliver an exceptional experience when we're that level deep with our customers versus just being another vendor that does something someone else does. Right? So, like I said, whether it's from enterprise security systems to ATM solutions and ITMs and TCRs, everything in between from install to ongoing service, we've got it taken care of for our customers.
Well, I mean, and that also goes to say a lot about the relationships that you have with these credit unions, that they go pretty deep, obviously. I mean, it's a true partnership, which allows this kind of creativity to happen. So, and then the results speak for themselves, right? So it's pretty neat to see. Yeah,
we, like I said, we're pretty prideful in the fact that we like to be super transparent with our customers. There's no BS happening when we sit down and talk with them, and I hope they appreciate that. Sometimes we can probably be overly transparent, but again, at the end of the day, I don't think there is either. So. We try to be the best partner we can, and like I said, we're going to mess up. We're in a service organization, we screw up. Sometimes technology doesn't work like it should.
That's how you learn.
But the lessons learned and the relationships that we've gained with customers over the years has been pretty fun to see.
Oh my gosh, Scott, this has been so much fun. I love talking. This is so much fun here.
Cool.
But again, the result, I mean, we can have all the fun here, but it sounds like the results are in the pudding, so to speak. It
starts with the conversation. So like I said, we're happy to have a conversation. Whatever problems you're seeing, we'll figure out a solution for it and go from there.
Good stuff. All right, so anything else to add here to wrap up? I mean, dare I say, is there anything else to add here to wrap up? When we talked about
how much time you got, Mike? We
dead
got hours.
Fish on ATMs, people, the chain and hook thing, and oh my gosh.
No, I think the last piece is just, there's so much to ATMs. There's so much from it almost can feel like an insurance policy, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. But the reality is there's a lot of bad stuff happening out there. But you don't have to just take it. There's ways to fix it. There's really good, and it doesn't have to break the bank to do it either.
For sure.
But like I said, it starts with a conversation. It starts with a deep partnership, and then from there we look at the open, secure technology that can make it happen, and see what can happen. So.
And then you ride in on your gold jacket and save the day. Right on.
All right. Needs an MC for hire. I'm available.
That too. All right, Scott. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has really been an eye-opener. At least for me, it's been an eye-opener. I'm sure for other folks out there, these stories are awesome. And the best thing about these stories is that they work.
Yes.
So
we've got tons of them. If you want to jump on our website, cooksolutionsgroup.com, we have plenty of webinars and other stories of just customers and experiences with everyone that's worked through us for the last couple of years, so definitely can spend hours on there in our video library.
I'm gonna,
watching stories.
We'll have the link on the show notes for sure, so people can click on there and go check it out. And thank you again for your support here at the conference as well. We appreciate that.
Glad to be here.
Love getting these types of messages out there to our credit union friends, so they can be safer and offer better service to their members. So good stuff.
Cool.
Studio Lounge interviews brought to you by Cook Solutions Group.